after the pandemic, the entire utility of office space is changing. I think a lot of companies, when the pandemic had set in and they went to work from home, they thought that the office space is something that can be given up and is not a necessary to run the business. But as time passed, people realized that this is an important area where the culture of the organization is built, where people meet over water cooler conversations and the entire culture of the organization is built, new ideas are shared. So I think the entire utility of the office space is rebuilt from a perspective of looking at how the organization functions, what the culture of the organization is, and how ideas are shared within the organization amongst the employees. So the utility of the office space is definitely there, but I think companies are looking at it from a different perspective now and what value the office space is now adding. So just from a complete workspace concept that this is a desk where people would come and do their daily jobs and go, the utility is changing depending on what the company's main business stream is. Well, the lease terms have definitely changed. I think more offices and office users are looking at more flexibility. So there is definitely a change. As we talked about it when the pandemic had set in initially, that this is the new normal and the normal is going to change. So I think this is the new normal that we're witnessing now. From long-term leases, companies want more flexible solutions to office spaces. A typical scenario would be that a company would take a long-term lease on an office space, a bare shell space, spend a lot of money, which is a capital expenditure, on doing up the office space, the interiors of the office space, and have a long-term vision on how they want to use the office space. But now companies are looking at a different model altogether, where they want to conserve their capital to strengthen their business more, because that's where the money is really required to strengthen the business. And they're mostly looking at interior fit outs as a wasteful expenditure in a way. So they want to conserve their capital. And so is the concept of managed workspaces emerging more and more, where a service provider who expertises in managing office spaces, knows how to manage office spaces, has the expertise of doing good quality fit outs. Companies would normally partner with an operator who runs managed office solutions. The managed office operator would source the real estate for the company, do all the interior fit outs, put in the money for interior fit outs, and manage the office going forward. So yes, things are changing. The new normal is setting in, and with these changing times, new trends are emerging, and these trends are more helpful and adds more flexibility. So obviously there has been a big impact on real estate. There is no secret about it. Everyone knows that real estate has suffered during the pandemic as companies moved into hybrid model, moved to work from home. So the last 2 years have been difficult for real estate. A lot of companies, as I talked about it, decided that they want to go completely work from home, quit their office spaces altogether. A lot of companies decided to slash their office spaces down. Reasons being various. Some companies did it because they wanted to cut down their expenses, and that's what the need of the hour for the business model. Real estate is a big expense for any company. For some companies, they thought that work from home is the future and we're going to be working from home permanently. So no doubt about the fact there has been problems in the real estate industry over the last 2 years. But I see it really coming back. People are coming back to office space with a vengeance. For all those companies who have decided that work from home is the future, it is not. Hybrid is the model now. So we're seeing an increased demand for office spaces now across the board, and companies are looking at more flexible company options. And I think as the utility of the office space is changing, people are looking at office spaces from a different perspective. A lot of companies are looking at the hybrid model, where people work from home, but they come to office to collaborate, to share ideas, for meetings, for gatherings, for the building of the culture. So for a lot of companies, the footprint of the office has in fact increased. They are taking larger offices now as they were earlier, because the utility and the use of the office space has changed. Instead of work desks, there are more collaboration areas, which at times takes more real estate. So I see this change coming in drastically now. The consumption of real estate, the take-up of real estate is drastically increasing, and this trend is there to stay. So co-working spaces over the last couple of years have really added a lot of value to businesses. We've talked about this a lot in the past, that co-working spaces is where entrepreneurs, startups, freelancers can come to office. So I think co-working spaces have in a way provided that opportunity for these sole companies or one person, two person organizations, entrepreneurs who are small companies to actually get an office space. Before co-working spaces, they had no opportunity to get an office space because you would only get real estate in large spaces. You won't get a 50 square feet real estate anywhere in a commercial space. So obviously co-working spaces have added value from that perspective. It has got a lot of companies to coming back into office. It's also added a lot of flexibility for companies. So it has completely changed the landscape of real estate and the utility of real estate on how companies are using it. Co-working spaces also add a lot of flexibility. Now there are various models if you look at it. I like to call it flexible workspaces, and within flexible workspaces there is a co-working kind of a model which is more casual, relaxed kind of a model, open seating where everyone works together, people from different companies work together in the same space. There is a business center model which is a little more formal kind of a setup, closed cabins, more privacy, and then there is a managed office kind of a model. So the future of workspace, as I said, is evolving, is changing. Companies are looking at office space from a different perspective. The entire narrative of office spaces are passé and companies are going to be working from home going forward is definitely not holding true. People are realizing that coming to office space is very, very important. So are business owners realizing this, and so are the employees also realizing this, that coming to office is very important. So I think from a hard product of a real estate, which was inflexible and it at one point of time is becoming more flexible, is more agile, as businesses today are more agile and they're wanting to change as the business scenarios change, as things around the world change, and so is real estate becoming more agile by the coming of co-working spaces and different flexible workspace solutions in a way, whether it be a managed office or a business center or a co-working space. So all this is adding a lot of flexibility. As far as I can see, and in my opinion, office spaces are definitely here to stay. The future is very bright for the entire office space industry.